Hello, Ryan here, aka Mac, and welcome! Alpha 3.19 is now on the PTU for the Evocati, so let us take a look at all of the leaked patch notes. As always, a huge thank you to all of my patrons and channel members. Thank you so much for the support, it is truly appreciated. So since the release of 3.19 to the Evocati, there have been two patches, the initial release and then one other, so I will combine both patch notes into one video. Now the testing focus for these patches are general stability, Lorville Skyline 2.0 or the new Lorville City, salvaging contract missions, the new mining balance version 0.1, and the tractor beams tier 0.5 item attaching and detaching. As always with the initial releases of new patches, not all of the intended features of that patch are released in one go, they come along incrementally. And it does mention that the next feature to be tested will be the Ghost Hollow Reclaimer PvP mission, which from the description sounds like you will be defending an illegal UEC terminal, with some new buildings added as well. Now firstly for the salvaging contract missions, it says these new contracts are called Salvage Resource Rush, in which a faction or mission giver requests the scraping of a derelict or husk in their possession, either on the ground at a junkyard or in space in a debris field. And players accepting the mission are tasked to scrape the derelict to the best of their ability and then sell the RMC to a shop, and once the player has finished scraping, you can then complete the mission in your mobiGlas. And this mission has three variants. We have Lawful, where a lawful mission giver or organisation are requesting the scraping, and the location of the derelict is secured by the organisation with orbital sentries or centurions. So quite interesting there, bringing in centurions. And these will be AI controlled. That will be fun. The lawless version is where the derelict location is not secured in any way and you risk being raided by pirates. And then the unlawful version is where the salvage is from a recent battle, which is not accessible to civilians and has been cordoned off and secured by hostile orbital sentries or centurions. It also notes that the mission-related derelict ships can include random assortments of cargo, be that ores, drugs, and so on, and of course removable ship components. So quite an interesting premise. I do look forward to seeing how these will play out and unfold. Hopefully not the same every time, as it does depend on many different variables, but they do sound pretty profitable, and I think you pay to actually get the location of these wrecks. Now the second patch, it does mention that they have included additional fixes for this mission. Now moving on to Lorville 2.0, all it states is that the goal of this redo is to create the visual identity for the high-end, low-end and generic branding of the city skyline and add additional signage around the landing zone. Plus they have moved the location of Area 18's ASOP terminals closer to the hangar elevators. Not sure if they meant to say Lorville's ASOP terminals, but when you look at Area 18, their terminals are much further away from elevators than Lorville, so chances are it does mean Area 18. But today, we will be learning more about Lorville 2.0 and Inside Star Citizen. It is obviously more than just creating the visual identity, it is adding locations for building interiors, spreading it out for future development, and so on and so forth. Now, for the updated tractor beam, which will allow us to attach and detach items, it says this iteration adds the functionality to the tractor beam attachment for the multi-tool to detach or attach these items to swap out, replace or restock, or sell for profit. And we can do this by aiming at the component that we want to interact with, holding the B button, and it will then highlight the item, and then left clicking and dragging the tractor beam away to pull the item out of its housing. I don't think we need to hold down the button to drag it out. I think you just press it now and it will turn the tractor beam on and off. Now to attach an item, the AR marker will appear to give you guidance on the correct alignment, and if the outline is green then it will fit fine. If it is yellow, then you'll have to rotate the item until it is green, but if it is red, then the item does not fit in that port, so you obviously can't fit a shield generator where a cooler should go. This, to me, is one of the biggest changes to the game overall, let alone just in this patch, and should open up opportunity for so much more in-game, so I'm really happy they brought that in for 3.19. Now, moving on to the mining balance version 0.1, it says they have done a wide sweeping balance change to sell prices, refining effectiveness and costs, component stats, multi-crew mining efficiency, mineable difficulties and masses with the larger asteroids, resource distribution, as well as the addition of new minables, with the goal, they say, of making multi-crew mining more attractive and even out ore materials to make them all more lucrative instead of just a few select ones, which I am very happy about. For ages, it has just been go for Quantanium. If you don't want to mine that, go for Agricium, Laranite, Bexelite, all those, the same ones all this time. Now we have much more reason to go for pretty much anything. And I believe this will be the start of a much bigger economy update. Now, for FPS mining, they have introduced a new mineable that is only available in the new cave system, so the sandy caves, and has a high value to encourage players to go mining with the FPS tool. And this is not including prisons. You can't find this in prisons. It is called Janelite, and it is very rare, but also very valuable. And so for the resource update, they have introduced the concept of mining rarity, with standard being the base resource of a mineable always part of any rock, like iron, for example. Common could be a chance of finding rocks like beryl, uncommon being a chance of finding rock like gold, and then rare coming across things like Quantanium. And these will be distributed differently, so dedicated locations for resources that have the standard rarity, so for example aerial having things like iron and quartz. They've also updated properties for resources, so each resource should affect the properties of the rock based on their amount, which includes updated mass for minables, so the resource composition will affect the mass of the rock. Plus they have brought in more variants to the rock size and mass, so there are small ones that don't need breaking, which is interesting, plus massive rocks that require multiple players. So this should kind of change the playing field for mining and whatnot, where you can focus on getting the easy stuff and getting a quick turnaround, or you could group together and try and get much bigger rocks. They have also added rock types with unique chances for resource compositions. Now when it comes to selling them, they have updated the resource prices and demands at the TDDs, so basically the further away from a standard material, the more profit there is, and they have updated the refinery yield and time for certain materials to encourage longer distances to travel for the best money per hour. So it will really create more of a demand for players to transport items or resources greater distances. Now there has also been a full item rework for mining, which includes mining heads. Resistance and instability has been updated for all items. They have unified properties for all mining modules and gadgets, plus they have buffed active modules drastically. There is also a new exclusive mining gadget property called Cluster Modifier, which clusters elements together, amongst other things. The UI for mining has been updated as well, and of course we are now able to attach and detach mining heads, modules, and the saddlebags, which is great news. So huge changes to mining, which might encourage me to pick up a prospector again. We'll see. Whether we can change our mining laser heads for a rented prospector, I would think so. It would be kind of cool, but obviously the outlay for these mining heads are quite expensive. Now, for other gameplay changes, they have reduced and rebalanced ship weapons, missiles, and ship components currently sold in the rest stops and Lagrange points. There have been 42 bug fixes, 15 client crashes fixed, 7 server crashes fixed, a main thread deadlock fixed, and a NVIDIA-specific client crash fixed as well. So that was the first and second 319 build. Some major changes coming in here for mining that should, as I say, reshape the mining landscape and affect hauling, having players now able to load and unload saddlebags, which also means we need to be on the lookout for pirates a little more, not to mention how monstrous the ability to physically remove many components, items, weapons, and mining equipment on the fly. 319 seems to be coming along pretty well, and it seems like such a big patch as well. So here's hoping it'll come to life as soon as possible, and we can start living out our scavenging fantasies. But with that said, I will continue to cover the leaked patch notes as and when they become available. So if you do appreciate my videos, please do consider subscribing and helping the channel to grow. Also, come and hang out over at twitch.tv/supermacbrother. You are all more than welcome. We'll be discussing 319, playing some 318.2, chilling out, talking about the future of Star Citizen. Hit the thumbs up if you don't mind, it does the channel a big favour, and tick that notification bell if you would like to be notified when my videos go live. Again, a huge thank you to my patrons and channel members. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.